Hi, I'm Patrick Swan, and I've been in the fashion and beauty business for over 30 years. And I've been coming to the Haven for about 7 years now and having informal, interactive workshops which give people just honest advice that really has no bearing on any particular brand or product, but just a nice interchange that really allows people to ask me questions and get answers that many times you can't get from your doctor. This is the opportunity of reinvention. And I think that that's how I try to look at this period, because it is not necessarily a time to reflect, to try to think of how you can get back to how you looked before, because we are always changing. And I think change is something to embrace, and even as bad of a situation as this many times appears in the beginning, it actually gives you an opportunity to sort of reevaluate things that you've been doing maybe for a little bit too long, or actually giving yourself that time really that you can say, you know, I've always wanted to be a blonde, or I've always wanted to be a redhead. Instead of thinking it really is, can't wait to look like I looked before, it's more of trying to embrace that now you can actually look a little bit different. Everybody always has questions that really you think about and you just don't know who to ask. So let's start with Topaz.
I have a question about hair when it grows back, because the new hair is different from the hair we had before. Like you said, maybe we've treated it with colours and perms or whatever. So we don't want to damage the new hair. Mm-hmm. So what's the best shampoo or cleaning product for your new hair?
Good question. First 5 inches of your hair pretty much take care of themselves. And many times you don't even have to wash your hair if you don't really want to, if you don't really have an oily scalp. Rinsing your hair actually can many times work. But if you do want to wash your hair, a mild shampoo is what I generally recommend if you aren't treating your hair.
So do you believe then a baby shampoo would be a good start?
Well, I mean, a baby shampoo actually is a lot more irritating than you think, because it is about trying to get the cradle cap, you know, which again is very common for children to have. And you're not suffering from that, you know. If anything, your scalp is probably more sensitive. Yeah. And so again, a sensitive, gentle shampoo would be something I would go for first. You know, you'll find many times that when it first starts coming out that it almost can look as if you've had a bad perm, because it almost has a sort of burnt quality to it. And that actually does go away. And as your hair does grow from the root out, not from the ends, that really as it does grow out, you can just cut it off and your hair will return to its normal condition, generally within 6 months.
When we start our chemo and the hair starts falling, so is it best to cut it before it starts falling?
If you can bear it, I would always recommend trying a cold cap, which is a procedure where they put a cap on your head to sort of reduce the temperature. And if you can bear it, and if you can get enough support to try that, that's the first port of call I would try. That when the hair does start to fall out, if that's what does start to happen, ideally I think it's just best just to cut it off and get it out of the way and not have to sort of go through the trauma of worrying about what's going to happen next, because more than likely it is going to come out. It's a confidence issue, and it is about addressing it when you feel as if you can cope with it. And the moment that you can cope with it, and you can put that past you, then you can, in your mind, you can start to think that you are moving forward. And I think that's the easiest and most productive way to look at it.
Kind of styles for scarves or hats, because for some reason I really didn't want to wear a wig, so I didn't go down that avenue.
Firstly, I must admit I'm not a big scarf person, because I think most people aren't adept at being able to put them on naturally. Hats, on the other side, I think give you a tremendous opportunity, and most people can actually look more like a character with a hat on than with a scarf. Now, if you're a scarf person and you naturally know how to do it, of course I don't think there's a problem with it. If you wore scarves before, I don't think it's a problem. If you can embrace even having your hair just exposed, your head exposed, as long as you put on a face, to me, I think you can look as stunningly beautiful as anybody who shaves their hair off as a statement, which I think can look more striking than anything else. So Topaz, now you used to have long hair, right?
Yeah, I did.
Now this would be a perfect opportunity to start playing with different colors, because now you can really start experimenting. So have you ever thought of being a redhead?
Of Thought about it, but been scared.
Well, I did bring a wig with me today, so let's give this one a try. And just to give you an idea of, again, one of the biggest, I think, problems that people have with wigs is, let me just have you just pop this on, is that many times what they do is people tend to want to style them to perfection. And again, I don't really believe in that. I really believe in trying to use your fingers as much as possible, because that will really tend to sort of make it look as if it's more of your own natural hair than something that you've combed into perfection. The minute you can start tucking even a wig behind your ear, even that on its own, again, tends to make it look as if it's more grounded and it belongs to you as opposed to it being a wig. So even things like that tend to sort of start to make it look as if it's more anchored to your head than it being a wig. You can always just, again, you can pull out little bits on the side if you want. There's nothing wrong with that to make it look as if it's, again, just a little bit more natural.
Can I have a look?
Sure. What do you think?
Yeah, it's different.
You look good as a redhead. Yeah, because when you got freckles, you can always be a redhead. Boink.
My eyelashes haven't grown through completely yet, so I was wondering if I should be using more organic mascara. Does mascara actually hurt it?
Now, I do believe that really if you're going to be wearing a waterproof mascara, that actually is a lot harder to shift and you need to have oils to take that off with. But it's just a regular mascara, I have no problem with as far as there being any chemicals that I would find too scary. If you've got short lashes, you're looking for a lengthening mascara. If you've got thin lashes, you're looking for volume. And again, if you've got long lashes, many times you only need to put the mascara near the root of the lash as it is. But when your eyelashes are first coming back, I think that really, if you can just put a little bit of oil on them many times that will actually give them that feeling they're starting to look a little bit thicker, because even a little bit of olive oil on the lashes can be a bit moisturizing and nourishing to them. If you've lost your lashes, that you can actually use a brown pencil, a soft brown colored pencil, and put that on your lash line. But I'm going to show that actually on Fetia, because she actually has less lashes than you. This is what I would recommend, is to take a soft brown pencil, and you're looking for something really soft. Even though you've got gray hair, doesn't necessarily mean that you've got to wear a gray pencil. You sometimes can even still do black, but I find that really many times, even for daytime, that brown is just a little bit softer. And as you have very little lashes, you'll find that this really will help sort of strengthen. Now look up that way for me. Now again, this will tickle a little bit. And I'm going to put this pencil on the inside of your lash line. And I want you to look down towards your nose, and I'm going to lift up your lash line, and I'm going to put that little bit of pencil right at the lash line, and that does tickle, but you'll find that by putting it there, it just tends to strengthen the lash line a little bit more. You are another person I would put brows on, because again, that really will be really giving you that strength. And so as you do have very short brows, let me just put a little bit of, and again with this I would use a gray color to sort of fit in with your own natural hair color. And again, just very quickly, just go over that same points, and just a little bit of a line, a soft line. And the nice thing about using a powder is the fact that it does allow you to control how much you want to put on your face as far as the amount of color. And you'll always find that the powder, again, is easier to manipulate. And as long as you make sure that you never wash this brush, it'll also allow you to not have to use too much product whenever you're trying to create a soft line around the brow area. And voila.
That's great. That's much better. Thank you very much.
But it's interesting. It does make you look younger.
Yeah, I know.
It just does the trick. People need to put color in their face. And again, that's where I find that really putting a little bit of blush many times, again, does more of a trick for you than not. So again, I'll take these little cream blushes, because I believe in cream as far as blush goes, and give me a big smile. And again, just a little touch in your cheek will give you just a little bit of color to your face. And it just helps to sort of bring back life into the face. And it makes you look as if almost you've been out in the sun. That very first day you get a little bit of sun. And especially if you're a woman who has color in your skin, you can carry more color. And just putting those little dots of color just on your face, just give that face that little bit more feeling of life to it. And even with Topaz, I'm not going to use orange on her because you got more of a yellow-orange base. So I'm going to go with something a little bit pinker. And again, just be a big smile. And just a little bit of pink even in the face. If you've got a pale complexion, pink actually will tend to make you look as if you're healthier again. So we're just giving a little bit of color back and making you look healthy as opposed to making you look as if you've got a full foundation on. So does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Fantastic.
After having chemo, when your hair grows, how long after you can color it?
I always say that if you've colored your hair dark, that many times if you're over 40 years old and you know that your hair color naturally would not be dark anymore, this is a perfect opportunity to go for a little bit lighter and start afresh. If you are going to use dark hair color, I do recommend that you wait at least a minimum of 6 months. However, if you have dark hair naturally, you have no problem starting to put blonde on, but I would use it off scalp, as I refer to it, where you would paint it, let your own natural color be there, and then you could start painting a little bit of a lighter color about a half an inch away from the root. And again, many times you can even have a foil woven in, a foil coloring woven in, which is called highlight or lowlights technically, because some people have highlights. Another method is called lowlights, because either with the foil or with a cap, it would be off scalp. And again, as your scalp is still very sensitive at this point, you want to be able to allow it to rest and come back to its fullest. So that's what I would recommend. If I want to go back to Topaz because of what she's wearing, when you wear a bra, will you wear an underwire bra?
I haven't gone back to underwire yet. I have a few bras, sports bras mainly, but obviously when I wear a dress like this, I'm wearing a bra, but it has no underwire. It's very clever. It's just in a sort of triangle, more like a bikini bra.
Right. There's a lot of controversy about the underwire, and I know there are specialist places one can go to have themselves fitted, and there are places actually now that specialize even with people who've had mastectomies and reconstruction.
Excellent.
And I always think that those are your first ports of call. If your breast is of a size that really you do feel that an underwire gives you that more support, again, it's just in moderation. I mean, when you feel you need it, I'm a firm believer that really you should have yourself remeasured every 6 months if you've got a sizable breast, because your body is constantly changing.
I didn't want to change the person I was just because I got cancer. I didn't think, and I've always been someone that has been proud of my body, and I didn't want to start to feel conscious just because, I mean, I'm fortunate my scarring is improving very well.
Right.
It's only 3 weeks after my last radio. And but I didn't think that suddenly I should become more conservative in my design of clothes. I'm still young.
But if you've got any cleavage at all, obviously a deep V or if you have a little cami underneath is sensible, or wide scoops, which is also good because it helps to open you up in this area, which many times is the big area that most women do question how do you address. If you don't have a very big chest, yes, of course, you can wear slash necklines and more squared necklines. Things that are ruched are fantastic, again, for the upper body, because, again, if you've got any lumps and bumps that you don't like, or if you're trying to elongate the body, either having a ruching coming up the front can just take away any lumps and bumps there. Same thing along the sides. If you have any ruching along the sides, many times it can be much more flattering to a woman's body than something that is shapeless. And having a well-cut jacket is an essential to every woman's wardrobe. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this session, and again, it's been really inspirational, I think, what people have learned today, and have something to take away, because really this is an opportunity to reinvent yourself and to look at yourself in a new way. Enjoy it.